Michelle Danner is a legendary acting teacher and co-founder of the Edgemar Center for the Arts and the Los Angeles Acting Conservatory. She is also now well established as a successful feature film director. Her film Bad Impulse is a psychological thriller about family secrets and modern technology that has won several awards. Her upcoming film is entitled The Runner, an action thriller and true life coming-of-age story that stars Cameron Douglas and newcomer Edouard Philipponnat. As a troubled teenager, forced to go undercover to expose a drug kingpin, Michelle is going to share her incredible story with us today. Welcome to my show, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing well. That was such a mouthful for me to say, but it doesn't even encompass or capture all the things that you've done.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
You are welcome. I was reading your backstory, and you grew up getting to meet so many amazing, wonderful actors and actresses. Tell me about that.
Well, I think that it all started when I was really 3 years old. Mm-hmm. My father moved us all from New York City to Paris, where he opened as the president the very first William Morris agency office. So I remember, coming to work with him and playing under his desk and having some iconic, entertainers such as Sammy Davis Jr. and Edith Piaf and Benny Goodman and so many others come. And I remember my dad said he invited people over for dinner, and I tap danced and did imitations of Alfred Hitchcock and Ed Sullivan for the agents at the William Morris. So it all started at a very, very young age, I guess. But I was always very fascinated with storytelling. Words, literature, and the fact that I had this European background, and I was able to, read all these classics, and I was mounting plays at school. I revolutionized the school. One particular year, I did an adaptation of Alexandre Dumas' Queen's Necklace, which they've made several movie versions of it. And I cast like 50 kids in the school. And so the teachers, it's really crazy. Costumes and rehearsals. The teachers loved me because I was obviously very creative and very ambitious. But at the same time, I remember being in the principal's office, and she was like, "You've revolutionized the school. Everything's upside down." But the thing was that I had moved from New York, and I was the little Americaine, as they would call me, the little American girl. And they would pull my hair and put frogs in my bag. And when I started to be so creative in school, they just, I became like this popular girl. So that was
You got the last word. That's funny. Well, how did you then make the transition for yourself to say, I want to do this for a living?
I think that it was in different stepping stones, but one of them I was lucky enough to study in New York with Stella Adler and with Uta Hagen. And learn from those, incredibly iconic teachers and their philosophies. And then I moved to LA, and a lot of, it just felt that I was auditioning for things. I was acting, but a lot of actors wanted me to coach them. So I started coaching. And I remember a distinct moment when I was walking on the beach where it seemed like I've made all the important decisions in my life, including having kids. But I was walking on the beach, and I was thinking, I really like passing it down. I really like having this knowledge and sharing it with other people. And so I started to coach, and then I started to teach, and then I started to teach all over the world. And so it's been, I see myself teaching until, forever, until I can't walk anymore. I definitely see myself doing that. But right now, my life has taken me into an interesting, road, which is making movies. And I love theater, so I'm very, very passionate about the theater. And I'm so happy that it's coming back now after this year, because we need this connection. We need to be able to have this communal, live connection, all of us together in one room. But I'm making movies, which is great.
That's amazing. I know you're really interested in social current events. And was it the latest movie that you just did, as far as what is it called? The latest one, The Runner? Is that the one that had to do with the kids that the police wanted a young child to kind of, undergo or find information about a drug king? Was that how you wrote the story?
I remember distinctly this night, because I couldn't sleep, and I just put the TV on and I heard a news report about how police enforcement trying to, for a greater cause, bring down the drug kingpin of a particular town would force kids that have been, selling maybe some pot in school to wire up so they could help in the capture of these big drug kingpins. And, the thing is some of this ends really badly in tragedy and parents don't know about it. So I'm listening to the story and I'm crying. And I started to write. I wrote 3 pages and then I woke up in the morning and wrote more and sent the treatment to a good friend of mine who is a writer, wonderful writer, Jason Chase Terrell. We have collaborated in the past. And I said, could you please write this story? I really want to tell this story.
Wow.
And he did. And we were lucky enough to shoot it right before the lockdown. We almost didn't.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I always feel that if we had not pushed and waited till April, we would have not done it. And there we'd be sitting here thinking, all right, are we going to make this movie? And a lot of movies, you're almost there. You're always going to make them. And it doesn't happen. It needs that force. It needs that push.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky. Yeah.
Yeah. When you have, that story really moved you. Is that how you typically, when you write, is that what inspires you is what's the current events around you?
Well, I am attracted to stories that have current events. I directed a movie with Norman Reedus called Hello Herman about, school shootings and school bullying. And I've always been attracted. I've directed other comedies, which have been more fun, but I have been attracted to things that are timely. For instance, there's a movie that was distributed during the pandemic, Bad Impulse, with Sonya Walger and with Grant Bowler and Paul Sorvino, and that also is very timely. It's about Big Brother watching over you.
Oh wow!
I have an Alexa in my house. My sisters always give me a lot of slack for that. They go, yeah, it's Big Brother listening in. So, that's another timely movie. I am attracted to, going on in our world, in our society, and what stories we can tell to, get people to feel
exactly.
When
you teach, when you teach, I was reading about that. There's you've been under all the masters and the greats, but for you don't necessarily stick with one technique. You create a very eclectic approach that you call your golden box, the golden toolbox. Is that?
Yes.
Is that right?
I remember, when I was 15 years old, 16, 17, 18, I studied with Stella Adler for many years. And she, of course, was a big proponent of using your imagination. And then I studied with Bill Esper, who taught Meisner. And I studied with Uda Hagen and so many other teachers. But I remember being very rebellious and how I was appreciative of everything that I was learning, but I resented the dogma aspect of it. And, the great iconic teachers are this is the way you do it. And I was like, whoa, really? I can think of another way and another way and another way. And that's why, having kids, I believe in progressive education. And for actors today, I believe in progressive thinking in terms of how you're going to put your toolbox together. And so I call it the golden box, where you take from this philosophy and those teachings and that point of view and that methodology, and you take the tools that work for you and you put it in your own little golden box, and you have the key. So I think every actor is unique. It's not all come to the middle and be the same, and I'm teaching you the same thing. Everybody's unique, and every teacher needs to deal very intuitively with each artist individually.
That's amazing. It's funny, you and Michelle, you and I have very similar kind of backgrounds in some way, in the sense of, and when I was in graduate school, I'd always question the methodologies and the different types of things that people would teach us. But it wasn't because I didn't appreciate it. It was because I wanted to learn more. And then they would say this, and I would say, well, but you could also do this too. And I would always just think it differently. And I found out after I graduated, a lot of my professors didn't think I would be very good at what I did, because I always asked questions and I would always think differently. So I'm the same way. I was taught a certain way, but I have so many different methodologies and techniques and tools that I use specifically for one event or one type of person, etc. Because I, just like you, I don't believe that everything is cookie cutter. And so when you understand the nuances of what someone's experiencing, or in my field rather, then you're able to use so many different techniques to help them get to the response that they're looking for. So I love to hear that we're very similar in that way. Exactly. with everything you've done, you look back in your life, the little 3-year-old versus the person I'm seeing right now, what's different and what's the same, besides the age, of course?
It's so funny you should say that because I actually have a picture here. I don't know if it's
Oh, you
going to
do?
read of my 3-year-old.
Oh, that's so cute.
I
Oh,
look
so
at her.
precious.
I look at her every day. And okay, so, she was very curious. She had a huge curiosity about life. And and this 3-year-old is still in me because I'm very, very curious. I have a very full life. I travel a lot. I read a lot. I used to go to the theater a lot and will continue to do so mid-September as theater reopens. I would go to the movies with my kids all the time. I watch a lot of content. I try to really creatively fuel myself and have curiosity about everything. And that's what I share with that 3-year-old.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. I love that. That's, you think about that with what you do, you help people, and I say this in a very basic way, you help actors and even the viewers of the movies create such a visceral response so that they're fully immersed in it, as opposed to, that was a good movie. But you allow people to really access the emotional spectrum to be able to say, well, when is this applicable to use this? And so to allow each person to have that, who have that talent, and probably people who don't have that talent, you can probably awaken that in them for the most part, to allow them to just fully embody life. And I'm sure not only do they enjoy that, but also how do they use that in their own personal life too? Does that make sense?
Well, absolutely. When you are choosing the craft of acting, you are getting on the path of growth. And every character that you play helps you in some maturational way to grow and to give and to learn about yourself and others. So, that's what's great about acting ultimately. And I think it's, it's about contributing something. It's about giving something. So it's about generosity of spirit. I've had a great experience, working with a slew of just wonderful actors, from veteran actors such as Paul Sorvino to, a newcomer, Edouard Philipponnat, that is the lead in my new movie, The Runner. I've had nothing but, truly very unique experiences with actors. And one of the things that I've been known for is to bring out, these performances.
That's amazing.
Thank God, I'm able to do that.
Well, how is it for you? Just to maybe get in your brain for a second. So to be able to do that, so you see someone? Let's say you were to see me, and how do you, I guess, get into the mind of the actor? Like, let's say it's me or someone. How do you get into the mind to unlock that for them? Because that's such a beautiful talent that you have.
Yeah, it's about really making them understand how they're going to find a way to bring a part of themselves to the character, open up something which is, maybe deeply vulnerable in them, or a room inside of them that they don't like to open, but revealing something and bringing themselves. It's really, the definition of character for me, the character's not over here and, it's you put the skin on. It's like a glove. You find the part of you, adjust it, that can adjust to the person that you're playing. So it's not, them versus me. It's all one.
Is it also just connecting the emotional experiences? So let's say a character is, just a very angry person. Is it then also connecting your own version of anger and what angers you, and then it superimposes the two to say, okay, well, my anger expression, I can access that anger, even though it's about this, but I can use my own anger about this in my life, and I want to access it and allow it to be expressed through my character? Or is that too personal?
Of course. I mean, no, definitely not too personal. You have to ask yourself, what do I humanly understand about this person, their journey, what they're going through, their pain, their dreams, their obstacles, and bring yourself to it. And that's always that $1 million question, empathizing with the inner life of your character, understanding them, justifying them, even if you're playing a villain. Villains usually, they don't think that they're villains, so you have to, that's why Gary Oldman's always been a great villain. He always finds the humanity of that person. And there's other great villains that come to mind. But yeah, I think you have to bring yourself to it. You can't disconnect from it. You have to, in fact, deeply connect to it.
If there's no backstory, if there's no backstory to the character, does the actor or actress, do they have to come up with that on their own? Or do you give that to them as a director?
Well, there is always a backstory. There's always a backstory. But, Stella Adler used to say the script is the skeleton, which gives you the backstory, and you have to fill in the meat. You have to fill in everything else.
Gotcha.
So you have to keep replenishing that life of the character. Some of it's just going to come from your imagination, which is supported by the circumstances that were given already. And some of it are there. And you have to make it emotional for you. You have to make it mean something for you. You have to make it, as I said, cook inside of you.
Yeah. Wow, that's just even hearing that is really powerful. That excites me. And I think about, different things that my little things when I was younger as an actor. I think, oh my gosh, if I'd known that, it's kind of interesting. But I want to switch gears here. So your favorite role is that of a mother, and you have two amazing young men, if I understand correctly. One is also wants to go in your field. So how is it for you to juggle all this? How do you do everything you do and also be the successful parent that you are?
I have always included my children in my projects. So I brought them on set with me. I'm a very hands-on mom, and I do have two very wonderful kids. I just finished the parent-teacher conference now for my 12-year-old. My 18-year-old is studying film, and he goes to USC, and he's been a great help to me. And this last movie, The Runner, he helped me look for all the music. He was responsible for that, and he actually did the trailer of the movie.
Oh, wow.
So he has been huge. If I had a dime for every time I called his name in the editing room, hey, come, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? So I made them part, I say, your fingers are all over this last movie. Yeah. I make my sisters, I work with my sisters, I make my two sons part of my projects. So it becomes like it's a family endeavor. Yeah. I take them with me. I've traveled. Everybody always asks me when I go to teach in Russia or South Africa or Europe, they say, are you taking the kids with you? And I'm like, it's so funny because everybody asks me the same question. Are you taking the kids with you? I'm like, yeah, I'm taking the kids with me, of course.
Why would they keep asking that question if you do it all the time? That's funny.
Yeah, I'm going to Sundance. I'm taking the kids with me. So I think we're getting into this very nice film festival in Europe. I can't announce it yet, but I'm taking the kids with me.
Congratulations. There you go.
So they come and they've traveled a lot, and they're part of all creative projects, and I support them in all their creative projects. We're a house filled with creativity. I'm surprised you haven't heard my dogs barking yet. The dogs.
I was going to ask you about the dog.
We have a turtle, lizard, birds. It's a little zoo here.
I love that.
But
that is cute.
The kids, there's a movie, because I'm a single mom. There's a movie that I always loved years ago that came out with Annette Bening and Julianne Moore called The Kids Are All Right.
Oh,
and I always refer to that. I always say, the kids are all right.
Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah. That's funny. Because I was reading more about that, and your son actually, didn't he win some international or some high school film awards as well?
Yeah. Well, I said to him, we were swimming in the pool a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. I said, listen to me. If you want to get into the college of your choice, not only are you going to have to make a short movie, but it's going to have to win some awards so that you can, get in. You've got to push yourself. And he really heard me. I didn't think he heard me, but he really listens well. And he did a short movie called 24, and into the All-American Film Festival in New York, and he was nominated in 2 categories, and it won for Best Movie in Boston, and it won somewhere else. And so he really heard me.
That's amazing.
And now he's writing, he's finishing his second screenplay.
It's amazing.
Right? And every single day doesn't go by for him, for my other kid, for me, where we're not doing something creative and something productive, and just embracing wanting to tell stories, that matter to us, and hopefully will matter to other people.
Yeah. I think it's such a beautiful thing that is all healthy, amazing mothers like yourself really impart your knowledge and your wisdom, not only your craft, but just your encouragement. I think that's sometimes kids don't get the encouragement. So that's amazing that you do that. And of course, your son heard you. Now he's been able to win all those awards as well. Do you, And you never know, you may be his assistant director when he directs some film one day. I wonder how that would be, though. He'd be like, wait a minute, let's do it this way.
I said to him, in any capacity that I can help you, I'm so there for you and everything. And I just think, I've been making independent movies, and I've been lucky to make, on a certain level with a really wonderful cast. And I've gotten, some really good feedback. But I think that he's going to make, I can see his imagination is so big. And he watches 4 movies a day.
Holy moly. Wow.
He is so passionate. I feel his passion. I'm passionate too, but honestly, I think he's more passionate.
Wow.
He's just all about it. He lives and he breathes it. It's like drinking water.
That's amazing. And that's so inspiring as well. To hear that. Yeah.
He said to me the other day, because I was looking for a quote to put on our building of our acting school, and he said, "You can't spell heart without art." And I love that.
Okay, that's brilliant.
He found that quote and he shared it with me. And he has a lot of art, and he has a lot of heart and art in his soul. Yeah.
I love that. That's wonderful. I had such a pleasure talking with you today, Michelle. If my listeners want to find out more information about you, to obviously watch all your shows, to learn more about you, to perhaps go to your acting conservatories, where would they find all this information online? Okay, that's a great question, because somebody asked me the other day, and I didn't know the answer to that, but I have the answer. It's michelledanner.com, and the Instagram is michelledannerLA. Perfect. Well, my listeners know that if they cannot find this information any other place, simply go to the show notes at jamesmillerlifeology.com, and I will link you with all of Michelle's social media. Thank you so much, Michelle Danner, for being an awesome guest on my show today. I truly had a wonderful time with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great.